I'm going to explain this to Chris, Tom, real quick. You know those quarter pusher machines that there's a bunch of quarters on it, and then you put a quarter in, and there's like quarters hanging off the ledge.
Like at a fair or something. I think I've seen that before at like the traveling fair that would come through. But yeah, or maybe I've never played it, but I do recall maybe seeing it.
Well, they usually give tickets, but we went to the south of the border. We went
for
to
the uninitiated. This is the most racist truck stop in America.
It very much is. It's in North Carolina.
Thank you for giving me some context, Tom. Now I know what you're talking about.
Well,
Which is saying something.
Tom, they figure out that this one doesn't give tickets. You get to keep the quarters. And I've never seen somebody like, I think one more quarter. And like what'd you win? You probably won like $3 or something, but Tom was dialed in on that quarter pusher machine.
Okay, so hang on. Is that the only reason that you picked him to come on the episode?
No.
Okay, I was just going to say that
gambler.
That doesn't seem like heavy duty gambling to me, you know? Like it seems like a fun game that you could play, and there's very little low stakes. So I'm not sure that
Tom's a poker guy too. Right?
Tom, you are. I'll let you speak for yourself, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing about it is the funny thing is I've been having a conflict about it recently, not because of my own activities, but because I don't view the sort of proliferation of integrating the experience of watching sports with being bombarded with like, sign up for NGM Grand's app and get all this stuff. Like that's not a net positive for society, even though like I do myself gamble. I don't view that as, I think
it's a little out of control now. It really, I mean, I've recently gotten back into watching sports on TV because I've started watching the Vancouver Canucks again.
Yeah.
So, not a streaming thing. You see even more of those ads, and it's fucking remarkable how much of it now is sports betting ads. I mean, it's just fucking crazy. Like it used to be a thing that you never saw, and now it's everywhere.
And the other thing I'd add to that too, Chris, is that like, so everybody like famously knows that like, Michael Jordan really kind of got ran out of basketball because he ran up these huge gambling debts and like.
Let me take 1 second, Tom,
because his father killed ?
Well, Tom, that is the first thing I have for this episode. It's the very top thing from a forum called 2+2, which is a gambling website. And since you said that, I gotta say this is from January 15th, 2024, and Expat Rights says Michael Jordan fixed his games, and fixing is widespread in the NBA and other major league sports. It's amazing when I search, quote, fixed on this forum, I only find people denying the possibility. Jordan was suspended from the NBA at the peak of his earning power for gambling. No, it was for gambling on himself and fixing. There's tons of allegations around fixing via Donaghy. Games are fixed everywhere, and the history of the game rigging in the NBA and collegiate sports is absolutely insane. All, quote, statistical anomalies should be examined with an eye to finding the fixed game. So it's funny that you said that because
I know that. I know that that Monaghy, that's the ref, right? The NBA ref.
Tim Donaghy, yeah.
He like that one. When I saw that was like, I think that happens a lot. I know there was like one particular call. It was like a playoff basketball game that I was watching, and there was like some missed calls that were so egregious where I started thinking to myself, of course it could be fixed. Think about the amount of money that's being bet on that and the people involved in the betting, like organized crime and stuff like that. And like how how they would be able to influence something like that. But I'm wondering how Jordan would have fixed games because he won a lot.
Yeah, he won a lot. When they say that like Pete Rose only bet on himself, like if the extent of Jordan, and I want to be fair about this, I don't want to be out there just saying Michael Jordan's gambling problem got his father killed. That's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, it's some plausible conspiracy. I had never heard that before. I had never heard that. That's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and spread it around and say it as fact to everyone that I know now. And I'm gonna tell them my source is Tom Sexton.
Source is some dipshit in Kentucky that heard it on a podcast that also has mafia turncoats on there a lot. So Anyway, to the fixing question though, like I will tell you this: horse racing is 100% fixed, except for like the big, like Kentucky Derby and stuff like that. It's not. But if you're just betting like little maiden claimers at some like shitty track by your house during the day, like if you know what you're watching for, like them stiffing them at the wire and stuff like that, like just to kind of fuck with the exotics, that shit goes on all the time. In the NBA, I'm not saying that any of that stuff's fixed, but I do remember watching this interview with Evan Turner, who played in the league for a number of years. Used to play at Ohio State, and this other person who said that when they played LeBron, the understanding was to win by 1, they had to win by 15.
Yeah.
Just because like their marquee names are going to get the calls, are going to get the deference in those like 50-50 balls and things like that.
That happens. Yeah.
That happens. Like that's just about selling an entertainment product, because sport is really and truly, for the most part in America anyway. I don't know about, soccer and other things. Although I'm sure
they call it, we actually call it football.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, the footy. Yeah,
I do. I mean that's a different thing. That's not fixing it for gambling purposes, but that is a thing that happened. I mean, the famously Harden, how he would travel every single time he did. Like there's those things that just the stars are allowed to do
to get by with a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Because they want those people to win. They want them to face off against each other in the playoffs. They want those marquee matchups. So that makes sense. But yeah, I guess Jordan could have point shaved. I guess, right? Like Jordan could have. They have a huge lead, and he's betting on the over under. And then he misses shots at the end of the game when he knows that he's got it lined up because he wants to get it. He could do that, I suppose.
Yeah, point shaving is the classic thing. It's like neither fixing nor betting on yourself, but it's just like, oh, if the line's 14, I'm just going to make sure that the ball's in my hands and we win by 12.
Yeah,
that seems so hard to me. I watched the documentary about a college guy on Netflix. I wish I could remember it, but he got caught fixing games, and the whole time he's talking about it, I'm like, that seems like kind of hard to dial it in,
but these are professional athletes, that you got to keep in mind. They're pretty good at the sport that they're playing, so it does. In some instances it seems difficult, but in some instances it's not at all, because it just simply means missing a shot, which is quite easy to do. I can do it actually. So
yeah,